but rather part of the system. And so maybe it doesn't mean we don't have our wants, our likes, the things we want. And it doesn't mean we shouldn't say that and speak it out and say that truth. But what if we're not getting it? Does that mean that somehow we're spiritually inferior? Did we not say it right? Did we not do it right? Or does it mean we haven't opened up to the system? Maybe there's something else we're supposed to have. Maybe that thing we wanted is better if somebody else has it at that time, at that place. Maybe we don't have to be in control to dominate this system. Maybe if we open up, what really is going to be for our greater good is going to come. But I want to talk about even a higher level, I think. That idea that God takes. Because maybe that's not right. I mean, what in the world would God take? God is everything. If you're everything, what would you need? What would you want? What would there be to take? But God gives. Isn't that the feminine principle? Nurturing, giving. And God gives, God creates. And if we want to be God manifest, then maybe we should think less about what we want and need and more about what can we give. What can we give to others? What can we give to this universe? And let that creative energy flow through us and manifest that aspect of God, that feminine principle of nurturing and giving. But we've been taught long that God takes, that we need to give God what God wants, and that we need to take. And how can we get past that step? Well, there's a couple of ways, as for all of our stuff. I mean, we know there's always different roads there. And one of those is that intellectual way. But we have these barriers. One of them, Marie Lane used to talk about, the committee in our head, remember? This committee that tells us you're not good enough, that you're not smart enough, that whatever it is. And we try to put away that committee. But Jean the other day told me about a different technique she had heard of. Yes, fire the committee members, but appoint new ones. Who do you want on your committee? Gandhi? Mother Teresa? What kinds of people do you want on your committee? You have your choice. It's your committee. Appoint them. And when these things come up and you're having problems, ask them. See, then the committee isn't something to avoid, some group that you have to shut down and put away. Now the committee is the best of the best, right there at your command. And so you can turn to that committee in your head and say, what would I do? What should I do here? And you have the wisest, most brilliant people ever.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
Of course, if I'm going to be on your committee, there is a fee.
Hey.
Oh, sorry. But there's another way, too, to raise ourselves up. And that's that way we've talked about before, return to the beginning. And that beginning isn't the rebirth of baptism. It's that inner beginning. It's to go deep, deep inside and go back to our very basics of who we are, that spiritual being of who we are. And one of the ways to get there, as we've talked about before, is chanting. And as Angie did that before at the end of his, I want to try it with you now. I know this isn't a great setting for it. but let's give it a little bit of a try.
Yes.
It's sort of a practice for you to then use later. And I've chosen 2 words that, to me, sort of say what I've been talking about. And these are Aramaic. Remember, Aramaic is the language that Jesus spoke. Amazingly, he didn't speak English. He spoke Aramaic. The one word is Allah. Allah. It's related to Allah. But remember, this is not the name of a god. This isn't some great man or woman, for that matter, out there somewhere. Allah is the unity. It's that recognition that all things, not just material things, spiritual things, thoughts, emotion, are all the one unity. Allah. And the second is Bashimi. Remember that term Shem that she told us about? Bashimi is described as a word of power. But it's not a power we wield. It's the power of the unity that by saying this we bring to us. We bring to this situation. And say, yes, let that power of unity come in and lead. Not just me. Let it come in and make this situation in harmony. So let's try that. I'll say it a couple of times, and then if you will start with me. It's Allah Bashimi. Allah Bashimi. Allah Bashimi. Allah Bashimi. And then you try to feel that flow. Think of it that way. The unity, it's all one. And this is the flow of that power that comes from the universe as a whole coming through us. Okay, again. Allah Bashimi. Allah Bashimi. Allah Bashimi. Allah Bashimi. And maybe this is something you can use. I've started using it. In times when you think harmony is what's needed. Lead me in the right way, and let's see what's the right way to go. And if this doesn't get you there, perhaps one of you will have another baby, become smarter, and teach us.